This episode of Inside Golf Podcast is brought to you by Inside Sports Network.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Boston Capital Twitter, Steve, on the Hold the Green podcast.
All right, we are live. Tap in, birdie.
All right, Carson Young is here.
I bet Ludwig at 28.
Let's go. I bet
You
him
did
at,
too?
I bet him at 25.
Low sevens. I think there's some guys in here we like.
Harris English at 7,300.
Why the fuck would I not bet Rory?
Good evening, everybody. Happy Masters Week. It's finally here. The first big tournament where a bunch of casuals come watch and us sick degenerates really deep dive, have some really strange bets. We'll recap the Valero and Live Miami quickly, and then we'll move on to Masters Week. Steve, you ready for this week, buddy?
Of course I am. I love Masters Week. I already had my wife try and book a bunch of things next weekend. And I'm like, the Masters are on, right? And she just shot me a look. She's like, okay, fine. Like, you don't have to come to this. You don't have to come to that. So, no, of course. You and I mean, obviously we went last year. We'll talk about that in the show. But I think like everybody here who's a big golf fan, big golf gambler, the Masters, I think, means more to them, I think, personally, because, we watched our dads and there's a nice little bonding that happened, with that. And at least for me personally, I've watched a lot of Masters with my dad growing up. And I think there's just a lot of it's more than just a golf tournament. It's definitely just it's an experience, just this tournament. So I love it. I love breaking it down. I love talking about a lot of different angles with it. And I'm very much looking forward to recapping our trip last year there and going over, some stuff that maybe Andy didn't cover in his preview. And then, of course, playing your favorite game, the Elimination game, which you love.
The Elimination game.
Yes.
Love games.
Yes, absolutely.
Love games.
So
before we
get
to...
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, before we jump into the Masters, what's your takeaway from the... Harmon has to be a top 5 worst golfer to fucking watch. That waggle is the most maddening thing. Like, aim point sucks, fucking slow play sucks. This guy has the most OCD waggle, and he's slow. I fucking hate Brian Harmon. Watching him win again just makes me very upset. And listen, the story that he had was obviously very upsetting with what's going on in his personal life. It doesn't take away from the pain of watching him fucking play golf, and it is awful. I hate it. If he was never on my TV again, I would be happy. So
I watch a lot of this coverage without sound because I have kids, and that's how I kind of squeeze it in. So what is his personal story? This is actually news to me right now. So what happened?
All right. So he has this longtime nanny. And his son got swept out in the ocean, and the nanny went to go try to save him, and somebody else saved the son, and she took on a lot of water.
Oh, I heard this.
Yeah. So and apparently now she's in hospice, and that's why his family wasn't there. They all went to go to the nanny. So very sad story, right?
Okay.
Which quelled some of my hate, but now that the broadcast has been off for 5 hours, I still hate him, and it's so painful to watch, man. So painful to watch.
Okay. All right. Well, let's save some takes about Brian Harmon for a little bit, because he will be a part of this show in some capacity tonight. I know you're squinting at it right now. You're wondering, how could Brian Harmon, of all people, actually have a prominent spot in the show? And he does, actually. He takes up a slide a little later. So, but no, I mean,
outside of Brian Harmon, how about you take a victory lap on your 19-1 round scores?
Yeah, so
19-1. Yeah,
so here's the thing. If you guys have been listening to me for a while, this is not something new. I have attacked round scores when the books have been just way off base and napping. And we had the infamous War on the Shore at Kiowa back in 2021, where they just continue to hang these guys under par at one of the hardest golf courses in the world with like 35-mile-per-hour winds. That was a fun weekend. The 2022 Masters, where I was in Georgia and only had access to an offshore at that point, but they still allowed me to hammer those odds because I was literally on the grounds. I'm like, this is gonna be the most brutal golf course on earth today. And they got punished for that. But no, I was sitting there on Friday night, and I knew that those wind conditions were going to come. And like TPC San Antonio we talked about this on the preview show, in that it's a golf course designed to handle a south wind. You know, all the downhill holes, you know, they have the headwind, but it's downhill. And the south wind helps you get to all these uphill holes where all the greens are raised. You got to fly everything to it. The problem is, though, once you flip the wind around to the north, this is one of like the most impossible golf courses on planet Earth, especially for like an amateur, because you're now facing a north wind going uphill and you got to fly to it. Like, it's literally impossible. So I was expecting the books to at least account for that and adjust. I was expecting like a 70.5, 71.5, and I still was going to bet all the overs at that point.
Yep.
But when I saw that they just hung all the round scores the exact same that Thursday, Friday at 69.5, 70.5. I mean, first of all, I couldn't believe it. I actually was chatting with UT Stick in Discord because we were speculating what we were going to do. And he actually asked me a question about the course conditions, and I just completely ignored it and just in all caps said, "Oh my God, all of them are 69.5, 70.5." So at that point, what I did was I knew I was going to go all over. At that point, I tried to paint the rosiest picture of how could this go wrong. And it mostly revolved around like, because they got a lot of rain. I'm like, okay, like maybe that takes away from the sauce. But even so, like they were a stroke over. And when you see a book and you know they are just dead wrong, you have to volume bet all that stuff.
Have to.
And I was a little conservative. I went up to half a unit, but like I just said, I'm like, we are going all in, all 20. All over. And thankfully a lot of people joined me in the Discord.
Oh man,
the
money in the Discord flying. They got all types of money for the Masters this week. Thanks.
Yeah, they had some people parlaying that. They had one guy
yeah,
I think was, you know, he bet a lot more than I did per matchup. He was up 26 units. He had Saul. He made a lot of money on that. And it was even better. And I couldn't imagine because they didn't get a whole lot of rain overnight. If I knew that they didn't get a lot of rain, I probably would have bet way more. But hey, listen, that still turned out to be basically a winning and outright for me that day. A lot of people did pretty well. Probably should have went back to the well today on it. But you know what? I didn't want to ruin a good feeling at that point that I had going in the Masters. And I'm just happy that everybody was able to prosper and really experience like a true run on a book at that point. Yeah. That it's one of the most satisfying feelings, just getting one over on them and just winning everything. So great job, everybody. Really and hopefully maybe this week we'll get the same thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna open an offshore again because I can't deal with not having access to this anymore. I'll deal with the withdrawal problems and everything else down the road. But the fact that I wasn't able to bet that because the Seminoles are criminals, as your father knows, shout out Twitterlist Steve's dad. Yes. Yeah, criminals, absolute criminals. And you don't get to get down on it, and it's an abomination. And you get to see everybody else having fun. It's like when you were a kid in the summertime and you broke your leg and everybody's at the pool splashing around and you're inside the house watching TV with your aunt. It's awful. It's awful not being able to take part in that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. I'm a little salty. How can you be salty about 19-1? By the way, I'm salty, and I was thinking about it today. That should have went 20-0, and it didn't go 20-0 because Andrew fucking Novak backboarded on 16, and it bounced to 4 feet.
Yep.
If that doesn't happen, he's probably bogeying that hole.
Oh, 100%.
100%. 1 under instead of 3 under at that point.
Yep. So I was so mad. By the way, I called his score today. I don't know if you saw the group chat when I tagged him back. I said he's going to shoot +4 tomorrow. +4. Yes. No capper.
There you go. You know what?
Let that shit go.
You know what? That's your contribution to making people money. If you could have bet his exact round score at 76, Yeah, I probably would have paid like, probably 15-1 at that point.
Yeah, that was
So,
fine.
Congratulations. Yes. Novak was gutless. Tom Hoagie was gutless. I mean, it was really difficult.
Fucking Tom
course
Hoagie.
conditions.
That's when I switched to live today. I had Sergio.
Unbelievable. Nice produced work, by the way. I was actually at the bar with my wife when this happened. I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding. Because she knew I was going for the perfect game at this point.
Yeah.
So no, she was fine. We were at a very nice dinner. That was certain a portion of that of what I won certainly paid.
There you go.
Well, that wasn't the only egregious one. Justin Rose also got.
Oh yeah, I saw
he
that.
like shanked it on 16 and then somehow was able to drop it next to the green. Like, what are we doing with these rules? Come on. Like, these guys benefit from everything in the fucking world between
they really do.
live clean in place, all these infrastructures, being able to get clean drops of everything. It just, I don't know. So, but hey, listen, he also crapped the bed yesterday. It was great. It was a great run. So, congrats to Rishi. He had Brian Harmon, also first round leader as well.
I had first round leader.
Oh, you did? Congratulate. There you go. Hey, great. It was a great weekend for ISM.
It was a great week. It was a good week. It was a good week.
Was.
I was mad because I had the way bigger ticket on Ryder last week on the first round leader. And then he kind of shit the bed. But whatever, man. Listen, it's still a very profitable week for me. All that too. I usually, what's funny is, you know me, I don't do a lot of positionals anymore. I had a feeling this week. I went fucking I think it went 4 for 5 in my positionals, and they were all like 3-1 deeper or later. I was very happy with that. So,
wow. Yeah, I actually, if I didn't have the run on Saturday, I would have actually took like a big loss this week.
Yeah.
So
Chan Kim alone, fucking 4-1, top 20. Let's go.
There you go. Patrick Cantley sunk me today.
That motherfucker.
Save it. He's also gonna be a central figure to this show tonight. He has his own slide as well. Couple of slides actually. So he is a gutless loser, and we'll talk about him a little bit. Any other thoughts? Any thoughts about Live Miami? Anything from there?
Yeah, I mean,
I tried watching a lot of it, and I just couldn't get around to it yesterday. And I caught the tail end today, and
I watched today. I watched today, and I watched Friday. A good chunk of it because I wanted to see how the guys were playing. Bryson melted down today. I had Sergio, and he had a shot to put it to a playoff, and he tried to hit the perfect shot. He missed by like a foot. I texted you prior to that shot that I'm going to waste a lot of money on Sergio next week. I already bet him prior to me texting you that top 10, top 5, top 20, and outright at the Masters. We're not going to tout those, though, because I don't feel good about it after we talked. Because you're right. We have seen the show before. I'll probably cash it. But yeah, I mean, look, I think, Rahm looked like he was playing. Then he kind of went back to same shitty Live Rahm. Like, I don't know what to do with him. I think Phil and Sergio, give me the old dogs at the Masters versus even Patty Reed, maybe, but he kind of fucking melted after Friday. I don't know. I got a big little.
Yeah. But that's a good. I'm actually glad that Reed kind of faded a little bit because maybe they'll take some because people just don't like in DFS or betting Reed. Like they just don't like the guy. Like it seems like his ownership is like always kind of like pushed down a little bit because of that. So I was actually kind of happy that he didn't do as well over the weekend because I really like Reed. Like he has been absolutely money and nails at the Masters for the last couple of years. And it looks like we're gonna get some kind of colder weather. So that's going to lengthen the golf course a lot, and that's going to mean more missed greens, get up and down, kind of like that a little bit. But like Phil, I think Phil's probably going to be chalky this week because he's going to be dirt cheap in DFS, and
so cheap.
People are going to want to bet Phil. I think Sergio's going to be mega chalk this week, and that's never gone well.
We'll see. You never know, man. You get a bunch of. So I guess the thing that works against him, I guess the thing that works in favor of him being chalk too, is the fact that this is the week where casuals come in, at least on DFS, and they're like, "Oh, Sergio, he's good." Click. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how the DFS side plays out. But I mean, listen, Sergio was like 200-1. Fucking, he was like 5-1 for the top 20. I'll take that all day. Basically, it's a field of 60. You know what I mean? So I'm all right.
There you go. I was actually hoping I went looking for round scores on Friday for Live because I saw when I turned it on, I saw the wind whip. I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be a disaster today. I was like, maybe I should bet all the overs. No, unfortunately, none of the books offer round scores for Live. Maybe after this week they probably won't offer them anyways because they get their asses kicked for the Valero. But yeah, I mean, it's at least for Live, because a lot of these golf courses they play are just jokes. Like a couple of them are difficult. Like Sentosa is difficult. Adelaide can be difficult when the wind is up. And then it's good to have as a tune-up to the Masters. It's not the same test. There definitely is a lot of differences, like way more like water at Doral and it's Bermuda, and there's just it's different. But listen, these greens got pretty firm and fast, and it's being able to putt on those, making crucial putts was good. The short game is tough there, wind conditions. So yeah, I mean it's good that they actually put that before the Masters and before a major. It's better to go to like Nashville or Michigan or Bolingbrook or whatever basically municipal golf course these guys have been going to for some of their tune-ups. So no, it was good to see these guys actually get tested. Congrats to Mark Leishman. He's still alive, by the way.
Yeah, Leash used to be one of my guys.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh yeah, he went to Live. That kind of stinks.
Well.
So, and I mean, he was bad for a while, but he's actually been playing pretty good this year. That was a big miss by me. I mean, he won the tournament, but
I bet the wrong Australian. I bet fucking the ear. Mistake.
He did okay. He did okay. He's what, 12th today, I think.
Yeah, it's not
13th. He was fine. No, my outrights weren't good. I hit top 10 on Sergio, and I got the John Robinson thing.
Top 10 on Sergio,
but whatever. So, all right. I think that's enough talk.
That's enough. That's enough of the bullshit. Let's get to the meat. We're done with the appetizers.
Well, before we do that, do you want to plug? Let's plug ISN first, and then we'll get to it. So,
sure.
We have the big promotions that are coming up. So, if obviously you saw what happened this week. If you were in Discord, you saw that I posted all the overs. We saw a lot of bets, a lot of great chatter. So, yeah, like that. If that isn't a promotion enough to become an insider at ISN, it's the only place you can really find me there. I'm not on Twitter. It's not just great golf.
You guys pay me. If you guys pay me enough money, I will release his phone number, though. Just saying.
That's true. But it's not just golf talk. We got Rishi with his tennis bets. We got NASCAR bets. We got DF we got MMA bets also as well that's floating around in there. So yeah, I mean it's if you're looking for any type of way to bet a sport, you can get. There's a lot of sharp guys in there, but obviously the golf stuff we're on top of our game, sharp. So becoming an insider, it's well worth it. You'll win it back in the bets anyways. And it's just a great group of guys and girls that are in there too. So,
do we have any
inside? I think there's a couple. There's always a couple at least.
How about Dave or
no? So, all right, let's get to the Masters.
Well, the promo code is
yes. It's
Masters month.
Masters monthly gets you 25. I think, yeah, I can
25% off.
Save us.
Masters monthly, 25% off.
No,
Masters
no,
yearly.
no.
Masters
Masters month, Masters year gets you 25% off a monthly and yearly memberships. So just obviously the corresponding one at InsideSportsNetwork.com.
Thank you, Cam.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, producer. Great producer work. Saving the hose here.
Seriously, you dropped a video clip today. Who is this?
Also, join our listener league. We are starting a listener league. You can find the information on our Twitter. I'm tweeting it out right now. Come in there. We got one of those posted. It's a $10. We're going to do $10 contests. I have a lot of fun plans for it. Actually, we're going to be launching our merch soon and all that. So I got some great ideas for this thing. But at the very least, you win some money. So come join in. 200 people max. We're going to try and fill it every week. So
love it.
Okay. Very good. All right. It's because everybody's been waiting for Masters 2025 preview. So we've really already released, well, not us, but ISN, Andy specifically, has already released a lot of Masters content. You got Andy doing a draft with Kenny Kim. For the Masters, you obviously have the great preview that he did with Steve Bamford. So a lot of like the nitty gritty stuff, like the course angles and skill sets, like the really in the weed stuff. If you want to hear most of that stuff, go listen to that. I mean, there's no sense recapping. Yeah, you want good long iron players. You want guys who are really good around the green, who are, good off of tight lies. You want good lag putters. Considering some of the weather conditions we might face this year, maybe a little bit of length because it's going to play very long given the rain and some of the colder conditions. So
that cold air. I told you when you texted me that, I was like, that's so cold for golf. So
yep.
cold.
And actually, I will reference the 2022 Saturday round 3. I think that is going to be fairly similar to one of the rounds we're going to see this year. And it was cold. It was very cold. There's a reason why I came back without a voice.
Like pneumonia.
Yeah, I basically got walking pneumonia that day. It was awful. So it's like, even for a Rochester boy, 55 degrees at Augusta National with low humidity, pretty cold. So, but this show is going to be mostly about just general scoring at Augusta, why some of the scoring has gotten a lot harder over the last couple of years, and it's mostly with some of the par fives, some of the changes they've done there. And then we'll go over some weather implications. Obviously, I love talking about the weather, but at this golf course,
baby. Weather
there is a stark difference, and I'll actually show you because I have an entire spreadsheet of all the weather history at Augusta going back to 2007 and how every single round was impacted by certain weather conditions and what the scoring averages were. And I actually have compiled all the conditions and what the scoring is for it. And we'll go over that because Augusta National can definitely change very quickly depending on the weather conditions and even just wind direction. I'll show you that. Then we'll go over some of Boston Capper's favorite stuff. We will go over experience at the Masters, specifically who is having their X amount of times. And then we'll do the elimination game, which is
that's my favorite game of the year.
It's definitely what you're
it might be the reason why I keep doing the podcast, just for the one game a year.
Exactly. Yeah, for the major game. So, all right. Well, first off, hey, there's us.
Oh, look at us.
There's the record scratch. That's what Boston Capper is thinking in this photo here. The record scratch, like, hey, this is how how the hell did I get here?
Exactly right.
Yeah, this is our prom picture that we took in front of a Butler cabin in Founder's Circle there. That's us.
We didn't even wait that long. We hit it at the right time.
Well, so that's the thing. So the first time I went with my dad, we tried to go I think during the tournament, and it was kind of like a quiet time. It was after Tiger rolled through, and everybody then just rushed to get a picture. Yep. So I think went in more of a I think this was Saturday. This was Saturday at the Masters, and we went before
Saturday. Yep, Saturday.
Yeah, we went basically first thing. This is what we did. And people were on the course, minging around. We decided, we're just going to get our picture done. And actually, that was the best time to do it. We went right through the line. It was real quick. And then we didn't miss really anything. So let's.
And then anybody who's going this year, I guess Tiger's not playing this year.
Yeah.
The easiest time was Tiger's fucking tee time was, hey, let's go to the tent. we went straight through, in and out, 30 minutes, got everything we wanted. Because people wanted to watch Tiger hobble around the Masters.
You want to answer this question, by the way?
After the heart attack, Dave. After.
Yes. Yeah. The heart attack happened at the 2023 PGA Championship. That Boston Capper chooses to blame after the garbage plate in Rochester. Not his years of smoking and binge drinking, and maybe some other things that maybe we can't mention on the podcast.
Yes, exactly.
But so let's talk about last year before we get really into it. What was your biggest takeaway about the golf course walking around it that you either met your that I guess surpassed your expectations?
So the greens, the TV does. I don't even know how saying zero justice doesn't give that justice. Seeing the greens in person versus what you see on TV was the most startling thing that I saw. And it is insanely fucking hilly. like the ups and downs. And this is like what? This is, I guess, less than a year after my heart attack. So like walking up and down the big hills and like, dude, listen, it's a fucking workout. Like it was, but the greens, I think, just the different levels were so insane. Like you don't see it until you're like in person on it. And I told cousin Bush this because Bush is going on a Wednesday practice round, and he asked what he should do. I said, here's what you do. You do what me and Steve did, because Steve is a fucking genius. And this is what we did. We waited until the last group teed off. We gave it 20, 30 minutes. And then we walked every single hole in Augusta. And it was basically just me and Steve. And we had the place basically to ourselves. Like other than some like random like people who work there who answer our questions. Like we ask questions and like you'd be able to sit there, look. It was amazing. Like I like walking around Augusta, like whatever. The tournament play was great. We saw Rose hit shanks. Like it was hilarious watching guys, get crushed in the wind. We watched great amen corner stuff. What I take away from that was me and Steve's walk on 18, just 18 holes, just me and Steve at Augusta, getting to see all the little nooks and crannies, all the weird stuff, like incredible shit. Like the TV does not give it justice. And that walk around Augusta with no one else around is going to be one of the best memories I've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, I know we joke about the elevation change, like, oh, it's really hilly to Augusta. Like,
it really is.
You truly have no idea. Like, I think what I was surprised by when I first went there was on hole number 1, just how much it goes downhill right off the tee box and then straight back up. Like you just you just don't really realize.
You don't see it on TV.
No, you don't. You just think it's
like
you kind of think, oh, it's just kind of flat out. No, it's down and then up. Yeah. And number 8 specifically, the uphill par 5, like just how uphill it is. Like, and you get to, and that's where you and we actually went to the crosswalk. That's about where these guys are hitting their approach shots from. Yep. They're just a giant mound just right in front of you that you just can't see over. It truly is just a blind shot at that point. And it's just you don't find a lot of golf courses that are built on land like that. And like the walk around, like you mentioned, we just talked to random people. We found that volunteer on the second tee box.
Yeah.
She was actually talking about the changes to the hole. And she actually, I think, gave a tidbit that this was something that I hadn't even done in the scouting report, that they actually not only shifted the tee box a little more left, they also shifted the bunker a little more left too. That was something I didn't know about.
Sneaky.
Yep. There was, I remember in 2022, I was walking around and I had always heard rumors that there was sub-air under the fairways, but I never could ever confirm it. So I actually just walked up to a maintenance guy and said, hey, is there sub-air under the fairways? He's like, oh, there is, but not under all of it. It's only under the certain parts of it, like the low-lying areas. And then I actually found the sub-air valve on 9 for the fairway. It was a low-lying area, and actually I think I pointed that out to you when we did our walkabout. And like, it's just when you go there and like you do what we did, where you wait till the last group clears out. And I know people were like, oh, well, you're not watching golf. Well, how often can you just go to one of the best golf courses in the world and just walk it and there's no one around? And
we sat on amen corner and it was silence.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was it's so
How about the fact that we just were walking the middle of 5th fairway?
I know.
And no one around. Just like you look back, you're like, this hole is so long. And literally, like the ropes are up. Like you can get pretty close to all these greens and walk around the fairways. And like you really, when you get up close to these greens, like you really do appreciate just how wild and crazy, and you just cannot build greens like this anymore. Like people would they would revolt essentially. Like the first green is just with all the little shelves and a big, like, it's just like a big punch bowl, and you got little shelves over on the left here and the back right. Like, it's wild. The 6th green, the big ridge that's right in the middle of it, that literally is like 3.5 feet, like up it, and just a tiny little shelf up on the top there. It's truly just a special golf course, and walking it, and you definitely can start appreciating, like how short game definitely matters at this place.
Oh my God. Unbelievable.
Because,
unreal.
Yeah, because if it's not impossible, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. But if you don't know what you're doing, if you're sloppy, you can get punished severely. And that's really the fine line between a lot of this stuff. So that was my biggest takeaway. I'm glad I went with you. That was wonderful. We did find your burial place on the 8th hole, in those little woods there. Cause I really thought you weren't going to make it up that hill, buddy.
Yep. This might be it.
Yep. But that was our experience last year. That was great. So historical scoring for the last like 4 years or so. I mean, obviously one of the toughest tournaments. I mean, it's a major championship, but there were definitely some easier Masters back in like the 2010s. Like I think like 2015, like it was hot, muggy, and humid. Like that was pretty benign. 2019, even the Tiger Woods year, that was a very bunched leaderboard. Wasn't all that difficult. 2011, that was not a difficult one. Like there's been pretty like 2020. That's not on the list here, but that was like really easy Masters. So, but there's been a lot of changes to the golf course since like 2021. Now, part of this has been like there's been some weather implications that made it like very tough that we'll get to later. But there are things they have done specifically to some of the par 5s that has been able to put a little bit of a governor on some of the scoring that they've done. So, why don't we get to some of the changes that they've done, and I'll show you just kind of like how that's impacted scoring and, how that's gone over the last couple of years. So the 11th hole, like this was a huge change that they made to this hole. Now the 11th hole has always, for the last couple of years, been a little bit, I would say, maligned as far as its design, because before this was Tiger approved. This was all fairway. It was a shorter par 4. There was a lot of room. Like angles kind of more mattered. But after Tiger basically burnt this place to the ground in 1997, they decided, well, how do we make this Tiger proof? Well, their idea was to add some more rough and add trees. Try to make accuracy matter at that point. Well, we've seen it time and time again that the more narrow you make stuff, and it just promotes longer and straighter at that point. And Tiger looked at something like, well, haha, okay. And that's why he ended up dominating this place for years, because they just made it harder for everybody else at this point.
Yeah, not
so
him.
This is what it was back before the change in 2022. Most guys would just bail out right or bail out left here. They didn't want to take on the pine trees over on the right, because at that point, like, you couldn't really get to the green. You're punching out here. You run the risk of running everything back over down to the pond here as well. So the easy answer for 11 would just bail out left and then just bail out right of the green, try to get up and down. What they ended up doing is they tried to start encouraging guys to take on the right side here. So they widened the fairway. They took out a ton of pine trees over here, except for these 3 pine trees right here. So the goal was they wanted guys to hit it down the right to take on some of these pine trees here, but you get a much better angle to the green at that point. And it was more designed to punish guys who were going to bail out left. They end up making some of the mogul mounds down short right here a little more severe to basically make it a worse angle to the green. And if you do bail out right over here, it's just a more severe chip shot back to the green.
Yeah. Right.
So when I went in 2022, I spent actually a lot of time on this hole because this was a big deal at that point. This is a big change to this. Also, they lengthened it, by the way. They had a new tee box. It plays like 538 now down the hill. So I spent a lot of time here. And actually, I think you and I watched a lot of shots on 11
We did.
too. Because
We had a great spot.
Well, no one was around too. Like, this is not one of the more popular places to watch golf. But you saw guys hitting from the top of the hill here. I think we saw a couple guys hit it into the water as well.
Water right there. Yeah, we saw Ludwig hit it in the water there.
We did. We did see Ludwig hit it in the water there. So what I wanted to see, though, is like, okay, part of the penalty for hitting it right here is if you overcooked it a little bit too far right, now you're blocked out by these little pine trees here. You got to hit a little punch shot. Like, it's awkward. So you're hitting towards these hazards, essentially, these pine trees, getting as close as you can. But if you push it a little too far right, then you're punished at that point. Well, I still didn't notice a lot of guys taking on these pine trees, mostly because it was soft. I also didn't see a lot of guys have their balls run all the way down behind these pine trees. That was in 2022. And then last year, though, I was hoping because of the firmer conditions, we would see more balls kind of run to this area here. I just didn't see a whole lot of that. I even went back and looked at like some of the shot trackers to see like how guys play the hole. Either guys are still bailing out right, or there just is a lot of room to just leave it
Ton of room
up on the top of the ridge here. That I just didn't really notice a big difference in how this hole played. And actually with the scoring, this hole really has not changed at all. So from 2017, 2021 played about 4.35, 5.4% birdie rate. No one birdies this hole. 35% bogey rate. After the changes, essentially the same exact scoring average, the same exact birdie percentage, and basically the same bogey percentage. So I would call this, like they did a lot of stuff to this hole. It didn't change it.
Window dressing. Window dressing is what
it really is. And I think they've been trying to tweak this hole for years, and they
haven't come up with a good
solution right.
Yet. That's all.
Yeah. So I mean, it's disappointing that they've tried to promote, like hit it right, and if you hit it too far, you're blocked out, and it's still the exact same hole at this point. So I would call this, I would say, as far as pass fail, probably a fail.
Fail
with the changes.
Fail.
So
100% a fail.
Now 13 though, this is one that people have been calling for years to lengthen it because guys, and like this has been happening for the last decade. Like I remember the famous Bubba Watson drive in 2014. Where he just took it all the way over the trees here, got about this area here. He had like 150 in. And just with the advances in technology, this hole was becoming a little too obsolete. It was way too easy to get to the green in two, even with adverse weather conditions. It just played in a par 4.5 at this point. And as guys were lengthening and getting longer and longer, the club had to grapple with that. And I think a couple of years ago, after the governing bodies said, well, there's no problem with distance and, there's no problem with the golf ball. Fred Ridley got up there and said, well, if they're not going to do anything about it, we're going to take matters into our own hands. And so 2 years ago, they bought more land from Augusta Country Club, which is next door, pushed back the tee by about 30 yards. And now this actually makes it a little long, like legitimately longer now and challenging because it's now very difficult to cut the corner on this hole. You're not going to make it usually with this, with the creek and the trees here. You basically kind of have to just play it straight. And it's a really long shot to the pine straw here. And it basically creates like a true par 5 at that point where you're hitting it's a 6 and a 5 iron for a lot of these guys, but on some of these par 5s, it could be a wedge or like a 7 iron. And
exactly
you still have to contend with flying it over the tributary of the creek here. So, this is something that, especially as well, and we'll talk about it a little bit, when you add some adverse weather conditions, now it actually creates a decision of if you want to go for it in two. And actually, we saw some pretty noticeable differences in scoring on this hole over last year since they lengthened it. So from 2017, 2021, 4.6 scoring average, 47% birdie rates, 11% bogey rates. Last 2 years, though, and weather played a part of this, and we'll go over that a little bit, but scoring average went up a little bit. The birdie rates went down, and part of the reason is you saw more guys have to lay up on this hole because they just couldn't get there in 2 anymore. And now the bogey rate's gone up because you have guys who have tried to go for it and they're hitting more balls into the water there because it just is a tougher, longer shot at that point. So, so this one I would say, and like, some people complain about the hole. They're like, oh, we want to see birdies on 13. I have absolutely no problem with making this more of a true decision hole. Now, obviously, a lot of guys can still go for it too, especially if there's right weather conditions. But now if you have like a west wind in your face, now these guys actually have to pause a little bit. Or
Right.
if you're,
I think,
or if you have a dodgy lie, like maybe the ball is a little bit too far above you on the slope there, like maybe you're not going for the green. Maybe it is a layup at that point to that, to like the lower part of the, down the fairway there for like a 100-yard shot. So, and we'll get to how wind affects this hole in a little bit, but I would say I'm happy with the changes to this hole. It definitely, I'd say, materially changed it a little bit. It increased the amount of bogeys on the hole, decreased the amount of birdies, and it put more of a decision to these guys. Same thing.
Anytime you make these guys think, it's a win.
Yeah. Yeah, I have absolutely no problem with making holes 2-shotters or 3-shot par 5s. No problem at all. So,
None.
And this is also another example. I think this is one of the bigger reasons why the scoring has gone up over the last couple of years was because they lengthened 15. So now it's got pushed back like 20, 25 yards. And yeah, it's a very long shot now into a very shallow green here. And it plays dead straight from east to west at this point. So if it's colder or if you have wind in your face, it's essentially a 3-shotter for everybody. No one is going for the green when you have those conditions. And that's kind of the point, is lengthening it to where if you have more adverse weather conditions, you're not going to be able to get there. Only if you hit a really good drive and the weather conditions are right for it, you can actually go for it in 2. And we actually saw it in the scoring here. Now, people after the 2022 tournament, they saw the scoring average go up from 4.7 to 4.93. Birdie rates plummet. And they're like, all right, this is now a 3-shot hole. It's ruined. Well, they weren't accounting for the fact was it would play dead into the wind. It was cold. Right. No one can get there in those conditions at that point. Then lo and behold, in 2023, you have warmer conditions. You have winds, at least the first couple of rounds out of the east at that point. Now, all of a sudden, it's right back to where the scoring was before the change. 4.65. Birdie rates are back up around 45%, low bogey rates. So it's kind of got this open championship quality to it where they're letting the weather dictate how the hole plays, where if it's the right conditions for it, it's going to play a certain way. If it's different weather conditions, it's going to play a lot harder at that point. And then last year, you had adverse weather conditions. You had the west wind again, had it right in your face. Played over par last year, and the green were super firm as well. And it just, you and I camped out on 15. I forget who it was. Oh, you know what? It was JT. Justin Thomas hit it in the water. And then,
yes.
And then he, I think, hit his, I think he hit his 4th above the hole
on and ran off. Yep.
And then he three putt at that point. Yes, and you just, beautiful. What's great about you is you knew you were at the Masters and you knew you couldn't just openly mock him like you're at Bethpage Black or something. Correct. You just had to go like, oh, that's too bad, JT. You were a very polite patron.
And I'd look at you with my eyes.
Yes. Yeah. But the last couple of years, though, if the weather is favorable for it, yeah, guys can still get home in 2. You get your birdies. You get basically the 15th that we are all used to watching. But now, once you throw some different weather conditions at them, now they can't get home in 2. Now it's a 3-shotter. And it actually makes making birdie more valuable at that point. I kind of like that. So, because you're going to separate yourself a little more at that point. So, that's a lot of that's the most significant changes to the golf course over the last couple of years. And weather has a lot to do with how these changes have come about and how it's impacted it, which we will now get to weather. at this point. So, okay, I've been doing a lot of talking. Can you recap last year what the weather was like for everybody?
Fucking awesome. It was fucking windy and brutal and cold, and it was amazing. And these guys were getting their asses handed to them, and it made me very, very happy.
Yeah. So remember though how the tournament started, by the way. It started with a rain delay.
Oh,
and they actually got a ton of rain that morning. I remember actually sitting on the airplane in Atlanta because I flew into Augusta and then you picked me up there. It was pouring rain at that point. And also, do you also remember what happened in the morning of the first round?
Yeah, why were we delayed going in there?
Well, because there's a rain delay.
Yeah.
So, and it rained like literally like 3/4 of an inch of rain.
I know we packed the first day. We packed a fucking million miles away.
Well, that was on Friday, but no. Thursday in the morning, round one.
Yeah.
What happened that morning? Besides the rain delay,
I don't remember.
You don't remember.
If you tell me, you know I'm going to remember. You know I don't remember stuff until you jog my memory.
OJ died.
Oh, that's right. Yes. That's right.
And here's the thing, like, so if you
and then remember we came out and like we were bombing Iran or some shit. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was like, I came out, opened my phone. I was like, "What do you mean we're sending missiles to Iran? What's happening?"
Yeah, I forgot about that. I think that was Friday. That's the thing. So
I remember the Iran, not the OJ. Poor OJ. Rest in
so we'll put OJ to the side. God rest his soul at this point. So like, what's great about the Masters is you don't have a cell phone. You're just secluded from everybody. Like no one's holding up a phone like over like watching shots. Like it's great.
In the moment.
The bad part is if you are inside and something really bad happens in the world, you have no idea. Like if someone died while you're in there.
Pretty sure you even said walking in, like you said something about like not nuclear war, but something to the effect of like we're gonna come out and there's gonna be like some sort of anarchy. And I was like, no, it won't. And I opened up. I was like, oh my god, we launched missiles to Iran.
Yep, exactly. So, but no, OJ Simpson died the morning of the first round, and I remember I was actually in the airport bar, and I was chatting up like a sweet 60-year-old lady, and she had some very not nice things to say about OJ, and I'm like, yeah, that kind of tracks, that generation.
He was great. He was great in the Naked Guns. For all you youngins out there,
he was
Naked Guns, great movie. It's rewatchable still to this day. He was a great follow on Twitter. And listen, that OJ chase broke up. I remember I had a kid. I had one of my buddies sleeping over that night. It was in '93, I guess. So I was like 10 or 11, and they broke into the Rangers game. It was like the Knicks or Rangers game. I can't remember which one it was. And all of a sudden, I got to watch this stupid fucking chase. And I'm like, what is happening? What is going on? What about the guy from Naked Gun? What's happening?
Well, first off, OJ just loved to insert himself in major golf championships because that happened during the U.S. Open. So, and then he decided to die during the Masters. So the guy just loves to make it.
He loved golf. He loved golf, man.
He did.
He was looking for the real killers on all the golf courses down here in Florida.
He was at Brentwood Country Club. So, and then I was, I think, 7 years old when that happened, the chase.
Yes.
And I knew he played. I knew he played in Buffalo, but I thought that I was 7. I thought he was actually driving on the throughway to Rochester. And that because I just thought he just lived in Buffalo, and I thought he was going to come to Rochester, and I was scared shitless. Actually, true story. Okay. My dad, if you're watching, I was scared that OJ was going to drive to our house and kill me at that point. 7 years.
So I was always afraid of Jeffrey Dahmer coming into my house and killing me and eating me.
Okay,
always afraid. Like I read some like Newsweek article way too young, and it was at like a barber shop, and like I was terrified of Jeffrey Dahmer for like a good portion of my childhood.
There you go. All right, back to the Masters, by the way. So like we'll get to this in a little bit. We're running along, but screw it. It's a Masters preview.
This is Masters.
So I have my little encyclopedia about how weather has impacted this golf tournament through the years based on a variety of factors: wind direction, humidity, rainfall, and temperature.
Okay.
And obviously, like any golf course is affected by these elements. We just saw at TPC San Antonio, you flip the wind around to the north and now plays like Bay Hill at that point. But Augusta is a similar way where, especially with wind direction and temperature, just the golf course can really change from, a relatively benign major championship setup to one of the hardest golf courses on planet Earth. So let me walk you through it. These are all the ways that I have tracked over the years that Augusta National. This is the first time I've ever shown anybody this, by the way. I've always talked about this. It's the first time I've ever shown this stuff. How Augusta National is played based on certain weather conditions. So let's start with wind. Obviously, wind impacts you. So
this is serial killer shit, Steve.
Yes, this is, as UT Stick just says, this is the serial killer portion of the program, and me tracking this stuff in a spreadsheet is a perfect example of that. Yeah. By the way, so obviously, wind affects how rounds go. Usually, every 1 mile per hour wind is about 0.1 strokes added to or taken away from your average score. So average score when the average wind's been about 10 miles per hour. 72.5, pretty benign, a little bit over par, but definitely pretty reasonable. 10 to 15, like a moderate wind, creeps up to about 73 at that point, and then 15 plus at that point. That's where you start seeing the 74s. So more wind, you're looking at about like 2 over par average, probably maybe more depending on some other weather conditions. If you take it under 10 miles per hour, though, it's about a stroke and a half difference at this point. But more importantly, though, it's not just necessarily the wind speed, but the wind direction. And you see a big difference in where it's coming from based on the average scores. So historically, winds out of the east and the south play a lot easier than out of the north and the west. And it's about between like a stroke to it's about a stroke difference in these directions. And I'll save that.
Usually is, Steve. It usually is.
Yeah, I'll save that for the next 2 slides because I'll actually show you what happens when wind comes from a certain direction on certain holes and how that impacts it, especially some of the key scoring holes at this golf course. And you'll understand why when you get it from an east and south direction, it's way easier than when you have to play it from a north or a west at that point. Obviously,
Steve,
temperature...
You would have been peak dad, like 1980s, like dad. Like, wait for this next slide. Let me show you how this. Look at this family vacation. Look how much fun we had. Check out this next slide. That's what I think. I'm like, Steve would have been the best 80s dad. You would have had a sitcom after you.
Probably. So, all right. Obviously, temperature impacts a golf course. The warmer it is, usually the easier it plays because the ball carries farther. The colder it is, the harder it is, especially Augusta National, by the way, where it's already been lengthened significantly. If it's really cold, the ball is just dead there.
Dead.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen some. I mean, you can even look at the 2023 tournament where it started off in the 80s and it was pretty easy. I think it only averaged like 72.5 first days. And then remember the cold front came through and it went down to like 55 and windy and it played like 2.5 strokes harder. And all those guys
it was so fun to watch, though.
I know. All those guys got the round suspended on Friday, and then they had to come back Saturday morning, finish up. God, that was a shit show. But anytime the temperature's been above 80, average score has been about 72.6. Again,
ain't no 80 in this forecast.
Yeah, pretty similar to like when it's under 10 miles per hour. So the easiest conditions would be warm temperatures, light winds out of the south and the east. Once you get it under 70, though, average scoring goes up to 74.3. Now, there's multiple factors related to that. We'll get to a little bit. Some of these like kind of play along each other, but colder temperatures means much more difficult scoring at Augusta. Warmer temperatures, the ball just carries a little farther. You have a shorter iron into some of these greens. To get to some of these pin positions, you have to have a very high ball flight to some of them because of small targets. Obviously, the farther you hit it for everybody, it makes it easier. Humidity, I think this is an underrated factor. in that, obviously firmness to Augusta National is, pretty significant to how it plays. Well, the less humid it is, the less moisture these greens can retain. And it plays almost 74 scoring average when the humidity is under 50% at this point. Because even if it rains, and we kind of saw that last year, where it rained a lot on Thursday, but you got low humidity on Friday and Saturday. You got some wind and you got some sun, and they firmed up very quickly. So, yeah, that's what she said. So, and then obviously when it's more humid, it's easier to retain some moisture in the greens. Plays a lot easier. Plays about 72.6. Again, usually more humid means warmer temperatures at that point. But still, that's also something to consider as well. The more humid it is, the easier it is for the greens to retain moisture at that point. Lower humidity, moisture is going to get sucked up.
Can I ask you a question? So everybody who comes down from the Northeast is like, Florida's not cold, but Florida at 50 degrees feels very, very cold. And it's because of the humidity in the air. Like, it feels like it sits on your bones. So do you take that into effect as far as like, listen, it's not super cold, but the humidity is up, or vice versa?
Yeah, I mean, like that could be a factor. Like if it's in these temperatures here, like maybe humidity hits you a little harder. But I do notice that like the years where it's like 30% humidity, those were rounds I remember where the green just got really, really firm and difficult. And that's a big reason why. It's just like, it's harder for the greens to retain moisture at that point.
Okay.
So anytime you get a little bit, like anytime these greens can get a little bit of moisture, humidity in it, like that makes it just that much more receptive, and it makes it a lot easier. So, and the same thing with, well, it says wind direction. It's actually rain. So obviously you add some rain to a golf course, it gets a little easier here. So let's talk about the wind direction though, specifically. We'll get to the next slide. So back to the direction, because the direction of the wind kind of plays with different weather elements. So an east and a south wind is generally a warmer wind. So normally warmer temperatures. And also it's a more humid wind. So that's why you get a combination of usually winds out of the south and east. Usually it's a little warmer and it's a little more humid. That's lower scores. But when you get winds from the north and the west at that point, that's a drier wind and it's a colder wind. So when you start getting those winds, now all of a sudden you start compounding certain things like colder temperatures, maybe a little bit faster wind speeds, less humid. And that's, if you start combining a lot of those things, it's a lot more difficult. Now, let's actually show you the golf course, though.
Steve, you should have been a quant for your dad. You were ahead of your time. You could be a bazillionaire sitting behind some fucking screen in Manhattan for financial companies. You really missed your calling. This is some insane level shit. I wonder if your dad listens to this and is like, he could have done this in finance. He's doing it on golf weather. I just wonder.
Well, I mean, look, I was up till about 11 o'clock last night or 2 nights ago breaking down the weather so I can go 19-1 on round scores. So that's how I help people get rich.
I know. It just cracks me up. That's all. You're like, yeah, that's my quant, as somebody put in the Discord the other day. And I was like, he really could have been a quant. He is a quant. He's deep diving humidity degrees and weather on greens. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, your dad must be like, why couldn't you done this with me with derivatives?
I mean, look, I'm a controller of the company. This is kind of like my role anyways. Like I am everybody's quant at that point. All right. So I you can't really see it, but like I put little push pins with like the directions. So this is the north end of the course. This is south. This is like the top half of the golf course. So you have some holes here, west and east here. So let's assume, you see my cursor here on the slideshow, all the winds going from like this direction, basically right to left, like an east-south direction. Well, one now plays downwind. And the big challenge to one is you have this bunker that's about like 300 yards to carry. Once the wind has come in,
Dirt McGirt, my guy.
Yeah, actually, I came in second in that national competition. Yeah. So, Anyways, once it's a wind from like the east and south here, you can actually now like drive it over this bunker. It's a lot easier. It shortens up number 1 pretty significantly. Number 2, yeah, it's technically into the wind, but you saw it. It's so downhill.
It's so downhill. It's
yeah,
crazy.
that like even if it's into the wind here, it's not that difficult of an up and down if you're below the green here. It's when you're like you fly the green and you're above the hole. That's when the up and down is a little more difficult. So yeah, so like this, if it's into the wind on number 2, it doesn't really impact you all that much. Number 3 now plays downwind, and everybody now just pulls driver for the most part and just tries to hit it as close as they can to the green. Obviously, with a helping wind, you get closer to the hole, you're going to score a little better at that point. And if the wind's coming this way, number 4, which is insanely hard, par 3, any helping wind you have at that point makes it a little easier. If you have wind coming from like the east and the south, number 8 is now downwind. So getting it up the hill is very advantageous. Number 10, like, yeah, plays into the wind. But again, you saw how downhill that was, that it just doesn't matter at that point. So now let's flip it around, though. Let's do a north and a west wind at here. Well, now number 1 plays into the wind. Now it's an insanely difficult par 4 at this point. It lengthens the hole. It brings this bunker back into play here. It just, and like, you remember this green, how crazy it is. You really need a shorter iron to get to some of these pins.
You have to have a
longer iron
in.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's
fucked.
nuts. Yeah. So that lengthens this hole. Yeah, like this might make 2 play downwind at this point, but you really don't want to fly the green. So it might actually be to your detriment. Number 3 now plays into the wind, and you see a lot of guys have this awkward like 35, 40, 45-yard pitch back up to this green here. That's no longer really a really automatic birdie. And then number 4 into the wind here, like that's just death.
Even 18 is crazy uphill, which you don't even see on fucking TV.
Yeah, that's true. Like we didn't talk about that. If it's a north wind or a west wind, like this is now into the wind, your tee shot, that just makes it so much longer, and it's uphill. That's like
how many guys
like
were like, where's that guy at? Oh shit, he's in the woods.
Yeah. That's basically like kind of what you saw at TPC San Antonio the last 2 days, where you saw a headwind that plays massively uphill. That's what we saw. Like number 9 was like one of the hardest par 4s like all year these guys are going to play. It's kind of similar to that. Like if you get a west wind or a north wind, like now you're just hitting directly uphill. You can't they bring these bunkers into play. It's such a long uphill shot. It just makes it so much difficult.
No, I'm telling you, it sounds like it's such a like a snotty thing to say, but if you haven't been there, you have no idea. Like,
yeah,
what?
No, you don't.
What it looks like. It's crazy.
Now let's go to the lower half of the course. This is where, like, you really can see how the wind directions can really swing the scoring. So let's focus on Amen Corner at this point.
Okay.
So a south wind and an east wind, it makes 11 still play pretty tough. It's into wind. I mean, 11 is going to play difficult no matter what, though. So it's kind of a moot point.
Sure.
Okay,
then
but from the east and the south, though, a wind, it makes 13 play a lot easier. Now the approach shot, you have the wind to your back. That now makes it like automatic. You're going to go for the green.
Yeah.
So that's a big scoring opportunity there. Same thing with 15. It was from the west or the east and the south. Again, you got the wind to your back. Pretty much automatic 2-shot. You know, like you're going to the green in 2. So, and then you have like 17 and 14 might play into the wind. 7 2. Like those are kind of tougher holes. But the biggest key though is like when you got the wind to your back here, now that makes going for the green in 2 on 13 and 15 a lot easier. That's going to lower the scoring. Okay. It's going to make 5 play really tough though. That's going to be into the wind. 5 is just a difficult, brutal hole anyways. But let's now flip everything from the north and the west at this point. Okay. Well, on 11, theoretically, it could play downwind, but everything now wants to push towards the pond. So if you leak it a little, that's why we saw a lot of guys hit balls in the water last year on 11, is that if you started a little too far left, it was just going to go in the water. Like it didn't matter at that point. You got a crosswind on 12, 13 now. That is now into the wind. So that is no longer, I mean, unless you really pump it up there, that's no longer a automatic go for the green. Now I see a lot of guys have to lay up. It's going to reduce your birdies. It's going to make it a little, that's going to push scoring average. Same thing with 15. We got winds from the west and the north at that point. Again, you can't go for the green. No one's going to go for the green. It's going to be a 3-shotter. Even on 5 here that would play downwind, everything's going to want to push to these bunkers right here. And you remember when we were walking how deep those bunkers are? If you find yourself...
That's death.
Yes. If you find yourself in these bunkers off the tee,
you're dead.
You can't get the green. You're
dead.
Splashing out to 100 yards, and this green is absolutely crazy at that point.
Yeah.
Like double is definitely in play. If you hit
100% in play, even if you do the correct thing, where all right, I'm going to take my medicine, I'm going to splash out, I'm going to give myself a wedge or mid iron in. You better hit that wedge or mid iron in correctly, or you're toast.
Yep.
Toast.
Yeah. Even 16 here, if it's a north or a west wind, that's now into the wind. So that just makes that whole play tougher. 6 is now a crosswind. Like it's always going to be basically a crosswind unless it's like directly to the south. Like it's mostly going to be a crosswind.
I love crosswinds.
Like 7 might play downwind, but you and I parked ourselves behind the green here. That's such a shallow green that you don't really want. Like you don't want to have downwind there, because if you go long, you're pretty much dead on 7. So like
what was the hole we parked at that was the best with the wind coming up? That was we saw Rose do the shank, and
that was 7.
Told everybody that was 7. So good.
So that was a west wind, but it was this actually great. I remember this. It was a heavy wet. Everybody thought it played massively downwind, but the wind was tricking them, and everybody just ended up short up there. Or the wind kicked up and they just blasted it way over the green. Like
it was the best.
Like 7 is also a much maligned hole because it just doesn't look like it's part of the property. Like it's very narrow, tree lined. Like, but that was my favorite hole, because we sat there for a long time too, and like we schooled the people behind us, but they were like, "Who's that guy?" And we were like, "Watch this, how he walked," and kind of saw his face. We were like, "That's this guy," and they were like, "You know who that guy is?" We're like, "Yeah, it's him. I promise." It just popped in my head. You had guys who were imbibing pretty heavily, and they were taking bets on if guys would hit the green or not.
But we were giving them odds. Yeah,
but they were doing it a little too loud, and I was like, all right, guys, like, I know I'm pro gambling, but like, this isn't Bethpage, guys. Like, you gotta keep it down.
And that's where I roll with Steve at the time. Meanwhile, I was on my best behavior there. I didn't do a single thing.
You agreed with me. You were like, all right, these guys gotta pipe down. These guys
because I didn't know what they were talking about. That's why I didn't know. They were like, I'll get the skinny guy coming up on the left versus he's like, oh, this is this guy.
All right. Well, anyways, this is how wind direction impacts Augusta. And I would say the biggest impact is just like the key, like the par 5 scoring. And even like, go back a slide here. From the north and the west here, 8 is now uphill and into the wind. Like, that just makes it so much more difficult. It really makes a lot of scoring holes just more inaccessible. And that's why if you see a west wind in the forecast, like it might be a little challenging for these guys. So here's a summary of the current forecast at Augusta National. I've put my projected scoring average, and I've based it off of different rounds throughout Masters history going back to 2007. I looked at the forecast and I tried to find similar weather conditions as certain rounds here. And then I ended up, like, for a couple of these, I had to adjust, like if I'm referencing a 2008 round, I got to adjust these guys hit a lot farther. It's a lot,
just a tad, almost 20 years.
A tad.
Yeah.
I got to adjust the scoring a little easier, but it's similar weather conditions. So pre-tournament, this is what we're going to see. We're going to see rain all day tomorrow, which unfortunately Ryan Baroff was going to go to a
Poor
practice
RB,
round,
man.
and now he can't go. So there's going to be no patrons on the golf course tomorrow. They're going to get, I think, about an inch of rain. That is similar to 2014 and 2022. I actually went to the.
I was thinking 2020.
Well, that's November. That's a Masters you should not even really reference at that point.
But if it's cold and fucking wet, why not?
Well, it was really warm and soft in November. It was like 85 degrees. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with it. So,
okay.
But basically, like this, I'm talking about like turf conditions. Early in the week in 2014, 2022, got a lot of rain. It was a very soft golf course, but it had a couple days of sun and no rain to dry it out at that point. And you and I saw that even though you get a lot of rain on like during the tournament on Thursday,
yep,
you throw in some wind, some sun, some low humidity, it can dry out pretty quick. And even though like maybe the tee to green condition in 2022, I was there. It was soft and made a lot longer. Couple days, you had a couple days of sun and some wind. The greens really dried out. You combine that with the sub air, like because that's what sub air really needs to get these greens firm.
Yep.
They'll be okay. Like there's a chance that like these greens won't be super receptive by tournament time because it will have full days of sun Tuesday, Wednesday to start drying it out. It's not going to be last year, but some concerns that it's going to be just a dartboard. I'm not convinced yet, as long as we get some sun after the rain. And now round one, though, this is probably going to be the best scoring conditions, I think, of the tournament. High of 75, south-southeast wind, 5 to 10 miles per hour in the AM, 10 to 18 in the PM, but still from the south there. So I just showed you a south and an east wind tends to be pretty easy because it unlocks a lot of these par fives in the scoring. That's similar, I think, to 2011 first round. Had an scoring average about 72.7, similar temperature, similar wind direction. Do you remember who won in 2011?
No.
Charles Schwartzel. And that was actually the one that Rory blew, though. Yes.
No way.
No, not Tricky 3-6. But that was the one that Rory blew that year, was this one. This is actually one of the easier scoring Masters. It was very warm, very muggy. But I think the round one, because they had some rain, I think, before a tournament as well, pretty similar scoring. I think it's going to be fairly good scoring on Thursday. So you might see some guys be able to go low, like maybe a couple 65s, I would say, probably first round leader.
Yeah.
So round two, though, it's going to get colder and it's going to rain all day. Highs are only going to get to about mid 60s. The morning's going to be in the 50s. So it's going to be pretty cold. Not a whole lot of wind, though. And at least in the forecast right now, it says it's going from like all different directions, like east, and then it shifts west. Like I think it's kind of a mess at this point.
Too far out.
So I actually tried to find a comparable round, and I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one that was that cold with rain during the day, but not a lot of wind. So I have just taken the historical average of scoring under 70 degrees, some light wind and some rain, like during the tournament. And I got to about 73.3 because I think the colder temperatures going to just make it play a lot longer. So, but I might be overshooting this a little bit. So I'm hoping to get a little,
wait,
maybe some more clarity about the wind direction. That
Sunday night. It's Sunday night.
Sunday night. Round three, though, this is where it's going to be really cold. It's going to be in the 50s all day, but it's going to have,
Miserable
it's going to be
weather.
super cold. Golf course is going to play very long. Ball's not going anywhere, but it's a west wind, but it's a very light wind. And you'll just have some rain the day before to soften it up. So it reminds me of the round three in 2022 because I was there because it was super cold. The difference is, though, it had way stronger west winds at that point. So I ended up discounting based on the average wind speeds to what I think it's going to be. It's probably going to play about a shot and a half easier than that round 3 in 2022 did, but still going to play probably a little over 73 because the ball is just absolutely dead. Way longer approach shots. It's going to be, that's going to add to the difficulty. That point, ball's not going anywhere that day when it's that cold. And then Sunday, though, warms up a little bit. It's going to be sunny, high 64. Again, though, pretty light winds, even though it's from the west-northwest, the tougher direction, only 5 to 10 miles per hour, though. Reminds me of 2008, the final round. The difference is that's 2008 technology, and these guys just are hitting it way farther now. So I kind of estimated that, through the years, over 20 years, it's probably like a 2-stroke difference. And, generally speaking, Sunday setups are a little easier. So I think probably like 72.5, 72.8 I have for the average score. So average score, I think, for the tournament based on this weather is probably about 73. Projected cuts, probably around +2, because I think round 1 is just going to be fairly benign. And then projected winning score, typically guys game between 16 and 17 strokes on the field over the average, and it comes out to about 13 under, I think, which is right around where winners of the Masters have been the last couple of years. But I think it's going to be a lot lower cut line. Like last year's +6 because Friday was insanity.
Well, it was a nightmare, which was beautiful to watch.
I'll never forget the collective surprise when it flipped from cut line from +5 to +6
from JT, and it was JT missing the fucking cut. I was so fucking happy. We were standing on 18, and I don't think I had ever been more happy in my life.
Yeah, he bogeyed 18, and but +6 let a ton of guys into the weekend. Like I can only imagine the cut sweat if the Discord, if that was around at that point, just probably the collective either cheers of groans of just everybody, the cut line going to +6 at that point.
Beautiful.
It was really, but it was special on the grounds as well. Also was special too, if you go there, park in front of the only scoreboard where they just literally update with Post-it notes the entire time. So and you see all the degenerate gamblers screaming at them saying, "Hey, how's Bubba Watson doing today?" Yeah, what? Hey, can you tell me what Jason Day did? Like, I really got to know. So,
hey, is that accurate? What is that? What he did on 7?
Yeah. Oh, he made triple? Oh, damn. That's where all the degenerate gamblers congregate, because it is literally the only way to see what anybody is doing on the golf course and the scores. Because the only other reference point,
having no cell phones, that made me remind me like when I was in Iraq, because you can't have fucking cell phones. Obviously, in Iraq, they'll triangulate and then blow your ass up.
Yeah, but when they do flip, like the little leaderboard, they only like 10 names,
the best.
And then you're like, all right, here comes the scoring on. And I think I actually said to somebody, Bryson, I think eagled 13 or he birdied 14. I said to somebody else, I'm like, watch this. He's going to double 15. He's going to do something dumb. And sure enough, they flipped they started doing it. And then they posted the 7 on 15. I'm like, yep, there we go. That's Bryson at that point.
So good.
So, all right. So that's the weather we're talking about.
Look, I'm still drinking out of the Masters glasses. I don't even let my kids touch them. My oldest came home today. Oh, this weekend, my oldest came home, 21. She's like, her and her friends, like they grabbed the Masters glasses, and it was early in the night, and they were like, "You can't touch those." I was like, "Tell them, girls. Tell them those.
No, it's gold. It's absolutely gold.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You know what else is gold, by the way? I forgot about this memory. Remember the guy that got mad that he thought somebody stole his chair?
Oh yeah, and he was walking around like an asshole. Yeah, what a fucking prick.
And then so the policy is like there's just a general agreement of if you put your chair down, no one's going to touch it. It's yours. So we put our chair down behind, I think either 9 green.
It was 9.
It was the 9th green.
It was 9.
And we go walk around. We come back after we had a little bit of like some choice words with this clearly inebriated guy who probably just forgot where.
And by the way, It was very choice words for me. I didn't lose my temper at all. I just told him he was fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Didn't
So-
even use the word cunt. Didn't throw punches. Nothing.
No, you didn't. We came back though, and we only had one chair remaining.
Ah.
And we are pretty sure this dude just took our chair at that point. So, yeah. All right, let's get the stuff that I've droned on about weather and nerding out about this stuff. Let's talk about experience.
In the game yet?
Masters. Well, that's after this. You love this segment though. You love when we start talking about this chart right here from data. This is a couple years old. But this shows there are certain points of certain starts at the Masters where you start seeing the level jump. And you love these guys who are the level jumpers.
Of course.
So this is an older
27-year-old wide receivers. It's like the third-year guys coming out of AA who have a certain amount of ball. Like, yes.
Yeah. Well, and
thing.
funny enough, the third Masters is actually the first level jump here. You see an expected strokes gain significantly increased once guys are playing in their third Masters. This is the amount of Masters appearances heading in. So this would be your third Masters. You see a little bit of a level jump. And actually, I was looking back at I was looking at Colin Morikawa, and in his third Masters, he finished 5th. And I was looking at what he had done the previous 2 Masters, and he always hit it fine. He drove it well, hit his irons fine the first 2. But you saw a notable jump in his around the green performance. And I think that's the biggest key is, and you saw it here, like it's knowing how to execute these shots into these greens. If you miss it, is extremely valuable. And you only can really do that with more experience at this place. And even Phil Mickelson a couple of years ago when he finished second, like he was playing terrible on LIV, but he still finished second at the Masters. They asked him, they said, well, I was playing terrible, but I know when I come to Augusta, I know where to miss it. And the more experience you have, the more you can do that.
Give me the old timers.
Exactly. So your third Masters, you are expected to do a little better. Your 7th Masters, that's where you see another level jump. And then your apex is your 9th Masters. So for the last couple of years,
I know. You said this you teased me 5 days ago. 5 days ago.
I did.
You're gonna love this fucking 9-year list.
Oh, you just wait. You just wait, sir. But we gotta get through the 3rd and the 7th, guys. Okay.
Are we playing the game yet? Can we play the game?
We'll get to that in a little bit. So let's get to our guys who are playing their 3rd Masters, shall we?
To our podcast.
And you're the people who love when Boston Capper goes stinks. We'll see a couple. So playing his 3rd Masters is Cam Davis, Mr. Rocket Mortgage, playing his 3rd Masters.
He's hurt me so much.
He has hurt. He played all right last year, though, in last year's Masters.
He stinks.
He stinks. He's got some length, though. Australian.
He
Okay, fine.
stinks.
Tom Hoagie was a bum today. This is 3rd.
That
Masters.
fucking rock-eating piece of shit. Like, unbelievable. Like, this guy has a chance to take down a tournament, but he does not. And he just completely melts today. Like, he didn't have to play well today to put pressure on the fucking midget with the fucking OCD twitches. Unbelievable. Eat more rocks. Fuck Hoagie. I'm done buying into that stupid hot iron bullshit. He hasn't spent money to fix his teeth. He's not winning a golf tournament. Period. End of story. And fixes his teeth. He's never winning a golf tournament.
So funny enough, I actually tried to find a picture of Tom Hoagie where he was actually showing his teeth. He doesn't smile a lot because I think he's very.
Of course not, because he eats fucking rocks. He hasn't fixed his fucking teeth.
Funny enough, actually, I typed in Tom Hoagie. Like a Google like suggested searches. The 3rd one was Tom Hoagie teeth, by the way. So that has to be you, just constantly looking for Tom Hoagie's teeth. But anyways, this is Tom Hoagie's 3rd Masters. Okay.
Yeah, good for Tom.
This is Sahit Tagala's 3rd Masters.
Smith,
a guy
no,
who
you.
I think
Loser.
Is a loser. I will say this though. I have this hybrid. This is the Ping G425. This thing is a fucking missile. So maybe you should go back to playing this thing.
He doesn't know how to use it yet. Why don't you call Jim and get him to figure out how to use it because he stinks.
Okay. This is his third Masters.
Stinks.
It's Tom Kim's third Masters.
No. Tom Sim. No. He's celebrating a made putt on a fake green in Palm Springs, Florida. Where the fuck is that? West Palm. And meanwhile, in a real tournament, just completely shits down his leg. We bought into him way too much. Way too early.
We did. Been hitting the ball good, but man, he's just been
stinks.
Been bad.
Tom Sim. Fuck
I think this is the last one.
It rhymes.
Bob McIntyre's third Masters.
Love Bobby Mac. Let's go.
Here we go.
Let's go,
this
Bobby.
is the shining star in this group.
Let's go.
Here. Yep. Playing really good golf.
Great golf.
Great golf. Heading in. Lefty. Colder temperatures this year.
Come on. Winds. Cold.
Not bad, huh? He's been good here, too. I think he's got a couple top 20s. He has at least one top 20 here.
No, he has two top 20s.
He has two top 20s? Okay. So two top 20s. Like, it's been sporadic because I think he played like 21.
He's probably Mac. He enjoys his boost.
All right. So this is, if you haven't noticed on this list, this goes from my perceived like worst to first. This is probably the one of the third Masters, the level jumper. He's already been doing really good. Very good here. So now there's only one person who is making their seventh Masters. And it's a guy that you hated to watch this weekend. It's Mr. Brian Harmon.
Fuck that, man. He's the worst. I listen. Nothing. No, I don't like him at all. He's terrible to normal people. He treated all the volunteers at Sawgrass like pieces of shit. He holds up everything. The waggle is a fucking nightmare. I don't even know if I can root against a golfer more than I root against fucking Brian Harmon. He fucking sucks balls, and I can wish nothing worse on him. Listen, I'm glad his son's okay. Sucks about the nanny. I don't really mean like bad stuff, but Christ, go away, man. Get off my fucking TV.
All right, so seventh Masters won this week. Can't carry out to another victory. Hey, look, listen. I'll say this.
I'll quit. I will fucking quit.
I'll say this. Once upon a time, a short-hitting Zach Johnson won a really cold Augusta National.
Oh, another fucking cocksucker who I'd rather fucking eat razor blades than to watch win again. Listen, Brian Harmon and Zach Johnson, the same fucking lot. The same fucking lot. Yeah. I'd rather eat razor blades and die eating glass than watch either one of these assholes have success.
You know, honestly, if Brian Harmon wins the Masters, we probably should fold up shop.
Yeah, I'm quitting. What's
the point? Okay. The ninth Masters list, though.
Let's go.
This is
the big one.
This is a really, really, really good list. Okay. This is the one where it's like apex.
Come on, stop teasing me. Let's go.
It's Keegan Bradley's ninth Masters.
Well, he's kind of crappy this week. I don't know.
He was, but your boy.
Well,
and this is the perceived, I think, the worst player on this list. But probably not to you, but like as far as like you'll see. Like as far as like I think perceived reputation.
Love Keegs. Not sure he's gonna win a Masters.
Okay. It's Tommy Fleetwood's ninth Masters.
That motherfucker shot like a 90 today. He was playing with me on a Sunday. He wasn't playing a fucking PGA tournament. This cocksucker shot like 10 over. Thank God. Ugh, what a loser. Fucking Fleetwood he's back to being the same loser. I hate it. He's a loser.
I mean, look, colder temperatures, ball striker.
Loser.
Okay. All right. Well,
he shot today, Steve, at a professional golf tournament.
I know he did. I saw what he did. You know, only 2 strokes better than Mr. Peter Malnati, another noted ball striker. So, I know.
Stop it.
All right. Well, this is Tommy Fleetwood. He's a very popular name. This is his 9th Masters.
Good. Let all the fish roster him in DFS and fucking lose their money to the fucking books betting on this fucking loser for any positional anything. Fucking loser.
All right. This is Terrell Hatton's 9th Masters.
Terrell, let's go. Hey, he played well last year on a course that he says he didn't like, right? And that was the big thing for him. Played well last year. Playing all right on Live, I think.
No, he's been playing terrible on Live. He's actually the last, he's the reason why Legion 13 is not winning the team competitions. He's been awful.
Yeah. Because he's just saving it up for Augusta? Probably not.
No, I don't know. He's got some problems at this point. He can't really drive the ball very well lately. I'll have to see what he actually did on Live this week, but no, he's been driving it terribly, and he's been bad.
Yeah, so, fine.
But it's Terrell Hatton. Big name.
Okay. Big name.
Okay. This is Cam Smith's 9th Masters.
No.
No?
No.
The dude finished top 10 at Doral, a golf course I would never, ever think Cam Smith was good at.
I still think
that's got to be kind of encouraging.
Yeah. I just don't think he's got it. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I don't think he cares enough. I really don't. And I fought against that narrative forever. I fought against it forever. I'm telling you. But I know people who know him, and he does not care enough.
Okay. I mean, clearly the ball striking would suggest that. I mean, that's taking a big hit. But can he just scramble and putt his way in tough weather conditions to a good finish?
Maybe it's top 20.
You're gonna hate them talking you into him, aren't I?
I already hate the fact that why do I have to do this? Fine.
Okay. We have a lot more guys in this list, by the way. We're not done.
Fucking hour and a half in. Beautiful.
Russell Henley.
Loser. Get the fuck out of here. Just because another loser fucking choked it away. Now Henley is somehow on this list. Fuck. I will cut my fucking dick off if Russell Henley wins the fucking Masters this year.
All right, Cam, record that, okay? All right, clip that.
Yeah, that's already clipped.
Yeah.
I mean,
there are a lot of guys who have bet Russell Henley 70-1.
I'm finding a local
winning the fucking Masters.
I'm gonna start Googling Jackson or Florida urologists. So
okay. All right, we're gonna bookmark
the guy wears golf clothes worse than I do. He makes $1 bazillion and none of them fit well. None of them. He makes $1 bazillion. He was still choking, but the other asshole choked more. Fuck out of here. Russell Henley to win the fucking Masters? No. Absolutely fucking no.
Okay. Well, this is 9th Masters. He's gonna be a popular outright bet.
That's great, and he's done shitty at all of them because
let's say he might. We'll see how long he lasts in the elimination game. Okay. All right. It's Patrick Cantley's 9th Masters. This is where I wanted to save you to load up on unloading this guy. So go for it.
He is the most overrated golfer of our lifetime. He won the FedEx Cup because John Rahm got COVID. And he's won nothing in years. He fucking sucks. He looks, I think Kenny Kim was the one who said he's like the retarded kid who has spaghetti on his face.
Okay, you can't say that word. Okay. Can't say that.
Fine, whatever. Okay. Bleep it, Kim. But he's so bad. He shot an 8 today. He cost me $1,000. I thought it was $750. It was $1,000 today, based on his fuck up on 18. He hasn't won shit in forever. The only time he's ever won anything is because Rahm got COVID, and he has been an underperforming piece of shit country club cocksucker his entire life. Fuck him. He stinks. Monahan fucking deserves it.
Okay, I'll say this. I had higher hopes for Cantley for this week.
Oh, I know you did. I told you not to bet the fucking asshole.
Well, I bet him top 10. I'm talking about the Valero.
How'd that work?
That worked out terribly because
exactly because he's a fucking loser.
After I did the show, I was like, "Hey, the weather's not gonna be great over the weekend. I don't know if I really want Cantley in this stuff." And yeah, he proceeded to do exactly what he always does. I'll say this. So I said last week that I have bet Cantley 40-1, and I bet that back in December at that point, expecting this to maybe be like a 20-1, 25-1, like resurgence Cantley, and be like, all right, I got some CLV. I'm embarrassed that this is going to be on my betting card. I'm actually legitimately upset that this is actually taking real estate at this point. This guy stinks. And he's not going to win.
It should be a scarlet letter. You should put a red A next to that for betting this fucking loser again. When was the last time he actually won a tournament and not give it up to COVID or some bullshit fucking? You have 15 guys with strokes gained.
Well, what I was thinking, like maybe he could do like a Hideki. Like Hideki hadn't won before, but he was like quietly putting together some like good ball striking and like actually like, okay, in hindsight, yeah, it was fine. But
cut your tongue out.
No.
Put Hideki in the same sentence as Patrick Cantley.
No. If somehow Cantley wins, I won't even tell it. Like I'm that embarrassed that it's actually something I actually have bet.
He's never winning again. He stinks. He's a fucking
He's
loser.
going to win. He'll
loser.
No, he'll win something.
Well, what the fucking what's the team event that we don't cover? Fucking him and Xander get to fucking jerk each other off. What the hell? What is that one?
Zurich. He'll probably win
Zurich. Yeah, where they get to baby oil each other up.
All right, let's keep going.
Loses.
This is Bryson DeChambeau's ninth Masters.
Okay, great for him.
Okay,
sure.
All right, I'll say this.
Has he figured out how to hit an uneven lie yet?
Well, he did pretty well last year at the Masters.
Did he?
Well, so I want to actually break that down. He had one good round at the Masters.
One good round. Thank you.
Yeah, one good round.
Thank you.
The other three were kind of what he always does. And he really tipped his hand at the Masters. The reason why he did so well in round one was it was softer conditions and the greens were a little slower and receptive. And he went on, I think, after round three, when he just started to not putt well. And he said to everybody, when the greens at Augusta start getting really fast and crispy, I have more trouble with them because they won't let me use my TrackMan to measure this stuff. So I'm kind of flying blind at this point. So
fucking asshole.
Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind, which might help him if it's kind of wetter conditions.
Dave, I know you want to suck
him.
Bryson's dick. It's fine. I know you think he's going to win. He stinks at the Masters. No. He can do anything
Dave, he wasn't very good the R3 rounds. He wasn't very good.
No, he stunk. He stunk. He does not know how to hit a fucking uneven lie because he thinks he's super smart and he thinks he's smarter than everybody else.
Okay. All right. I think this is the last one. Shaun Rahm's ninth Masters.
I don't even know what to do with the fucking live data. Like, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
There's strokes gain data now. There actually is.
Sure. Fine. But
it's true.
What I'm saying is like I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. Like I don't think he hasn't won a live competition. He's gonna come win the Masters?
No, he won Live Chicago last year. He's won one.
One a year ago. They played fucking 7 times a year?
Play 14.
Okay.
I will say this.
You know, I'm a Rahm guy. I love Rahm. But like, I'm not going to put him. What's his number? 12, 14?
It's starting to drift a little bit, I think. Apparently somebody found a 20 on him. I don't know where, but they did. So I'll say this about Rahm. Rahm was my season pick to win because I thought he was just going to start winning everything on live at this point. It seems like he's a sports car that has like 4 gears really good, but then when you try to go to the 5th gear,
it's gone.
Just doesn't get there. Like something is not off, and he's just not sharp at this point.
Yep,
that's concerning, and I don't know how that
iron, and he's out there playing bullshit games with.
Yeah,
the Seminoles got
yeah, and I don't know how that's going to turn around. I think for him. So, all right, that is the list though of experience in the Masters, and now finally we get to the game.
Let's go.
I want to play a game. Let's play a game.
Would like to play a game.
The Masters elimination game. So before I say this, by the way, this is kind of a semi-serious elimination game. Like there's some, it's always kind of like, you know, you're grabbing stats here and there, and like, is something really real or not when you're actually like doing like this cut down game. Where most of this stuff comes from is I looked at how the form of every winner since 2010, as far as statistically what they were doing. So like minimum thresholds, like minimum off the tee, minimum tee to green, like how they were doing, to start cutting guys who just haven't been playing all that good. Because let's face it, like at the Masters, a lot of these winners have not been all that surprising. Like it's been usually the best players who've been playing the best, and they just end up winning. So, but that kind of helps you if we set like minimum thresholds, and then we do some other stuff at the end where it's like career achievements. Like, have you actually put yourself in the mix? Have you actually had like relevant like contention in majors? Have you won like tournaments, like at least? So that's the back half of it. But this has been generally helpful to kind of at least get you a little bit of an idea of.
Didn't pick like the last three. Didn't we pick the last three?
Well, it's pretty easy to do that. It's been Scotty, Rom, Scotty.
Fine, fair enough.
So, but no, it at least gets you kind of in the right frame of mind of, I mean, like a lot of guys that end up surviving the end, like you did pretty well. Like I think Ludwig actually survived
He did.
up until the end, except for like an experienced one. I think Colin survived last year. So like, yeah, it definitely gets you guys at least in the mix. So
imagine betting Morikawa at the Masters.
Okay. First criteria. So the last 13 winners of the Masters were gaining at least 0.73 strokes tee to green heading in. The lowest threshold was Bubba Watson, I think, in like
0.73.
0.7. It's pretty low. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a pretty low bar to clear, and you're not even doing that.
Sure.
How can you actually win the Masters at that point?
All right.
So,
okay.
And we're actually, and so here's the thing too. So how I did it was I took it. This does not include the Valero, so this could change. All right. This doesn't include that. Also doesn't include Live Miami. Again, like I don't even think that day is even available at this point. I put this all together last night. So shoot me. Okay. This is as of last night. Okay. Again, it's a semi-serious game. But here's all the guys that we eliminate. They are not gaining at least 0.73 strokes tee to green heading in, including Ludwig Aubert, Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland, Jordan Spieth, Minwoo Lee, Cam Smith on Live, mostly because he just doesn't strike the ball very well anymore. Akshay, Corey Connors, which might change after this week.
Weird.
Sat Gala, Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, who definitely won't be changing that. Patrick Reed, that's another one. That even includes some Euro Tour stuff. Just not quite good enough with the ball strike. I like Reed this week, but not to win. So yeah, this is just a compilation of guys. It's like 25 guys we're chopping off. Okay. So
yeah, okay.
Watch how you
guys who think.
I think the only one I would be amenable to would be Xander, because he is working his way back.
Injury. I think Wyndham too.
You think Wyndham?
Yeah, I think Wyndham. If it's going to play long and hard and around the green, like, yeah, I think Wyndham.
Okay. Possibly. I might be able to get around to that.
He likes it for fucking Rory. That's how my brain works. If everybody likes it for Rory, then I kind of like it for Wyndham, and I will dig into it a little bit.
Okay. I might have to dig into him as well. But these are like, obviously there's more guys. Like I only took everybody over 7,000 in DraftKings. All right. So.
Somebody just really asked what Angel Cabrera. Of course, it's fucking Dave.
All right. Next criteria. Every single winner of the Masters going back to 2010 or 11 were positive in strokes gained off the tee. No one was losing strokes off the tee heading into the Masters and ended up winning. We're going to get rid of Brooks Koepka.
Oof, that hurts.
Not driving the ball that great this year. And according to Data Golf, is losing strokes off the tee.
Okay.
So he's out.
I like how you couch it with according to Data Golf.
Well, that's the only place you can find it. They're the ones calculating the strokes. Well, they're the only ones calculating the strokes gain, like because they take Liv's shitty shot link and literally just calculating it that way.
Okay.
So that's also how they do it for the Euro Tour stuff.
All right.
So I trust it. Justin Thomas is also somehow losing strokes off the tee this year.
Yeah, because he fucking sucks at golf. That's why.
Yeah. Which makes sense considering on 16 at Valspar, he hit it deep into the woods, and then 18 hit into the bunker, and that cost him. So maybe that makes
Those
sense.
last 3 holes were fucking like, I knew he was a ballless, like sackless piece of shit, but that like solidified it. Like,
Okay.
like loser. Yeah.
All right. So according to the trends, no one has won the Masters in the last 13, losing strokes off the tee heading in. Brooks and JT.
Okay.
They're out. Last 13 winners are positive strokes gain approach heading in. Nobody was losing strokes with their irons and then winning the Masters. Bryson's out.
Yeah.
Bryson
Makes
is
sense.
per day to golf losing strokes with his irons heading in. He's not winning, according at least to the trends. And we even actually have a little bit more of a threshold. Let's actually really drill this stuff down. They've all, the last 13 winners, gained at least 0.23 strokes with their irons heading in. So about a quarter stroke per round.
Okay.
Let's go to Sergio, which might change this week, though. I'd have to look. I mean, depending on what their numbers are.
As of shot, man. And he missed that fucking shot. He pushed it. He had a bad lie in the trees. He had like a foot shot to miss it to try to run it up to the fucking cup, and he missed it by like 3 inches.
Yeah. By the way, to ask, yes, this is January to now. This is trends I have been tracking. I did this going all the way back for 13. It's from January to the eve of the Masters.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit, it's smaller sample size, but I mean, it kind of makes sense based on like how we're eliminating guys. Like, yeah, we're eliminating guys who aren't good with their irons. Yeah, we're eliminating guys who aren't good with like driving. And soon we're going to eliminate guys who aren't good around the green. Like just key things you kind of look at this place. So, and again, this is a semi-serious game, guys. Okay. It's kind of more to just rile up Ross and Capper to say this guy stinks. Okay. And to say, and the question lies saying, how the hell did this guy get so far in life? Okay. It's really for him. Okay. We're also going to get rid of John Rahm, who's been having trouble with his irons this year. And we saw that on 17 this week. Hit it right in the water. So we're going to get rid of him. He's not winning the Masters, apparently.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Last 13 winners of the Masters were positive in strokes gain around the green heading into the Masters. Keegan's out. Keegan's been bad around the green this year.
Yeah, Keegan's been bad in general lately.
He has, especially this weekend when he blew a top 20 for me.
So bad.
And let's actually further drill down. Last 13 winners have gained at least 0.12 strokes around the green heading in. Okay, let's really up the bar a little bit. Sepp Straka is out. He's gaining a little bit, but not quite enough. So
too many hills to walk up down for a fan.
Yep. And again, Dave, I did this as of last night. So stuff could change. Okay. Will Zalatoris is out.
Fuck out of here.
Well, he's not gaining enough around the green.
He's not doing anything. Yeah. He fucking sucks.
Okay. All right. And Tommy Fleetwood
sucks. Move on. Stinks.
Okay. All right.
Stinks. Move on.
Okay. Last 13 winners, and this is a very low bar, by the way. Last 13 winners have at least one career top 10 at any major championship. Hey, we're going to get rid of Joaquin Niemann. This is the Joaquin Niemann category, okay? You are out, sir.
Bye-bye.
You've never even come close.
Nope.
Okay? Bye-bye. You're out.
All the talent in the world, none of the drive.
Yeah, that was a really bad Shohei Doral, by the way.
It's the same. It's like when you look at like whatever sport, like NFL wideouts, like guys who come up in baseball, like all the talent in the world, but actually no drive. And that's hilarious days on Torque, no drive.
Okay. All right. So let's just pause. So Who have we not mentioned?
Scotty, Rory, fucking. Yep.
Okay. Anybody else?
Xander.
We chopped a lot of guys.
Wait, you already chopped Xander, did you?
Yes, we chopped Xander. We chopped Finau.
Finau. Yeah, Finau. Oh.
Yep, he was out. So, yep, Henley and McIntyre, they're still in there. Hideki's still alive. Colin is still alive. Yeah, the chat.
Colin
chatted.
fucking Morikawa is not winning the fucking
Chat still up. I think we have 7 names left. I don't have the full list, but I think we got like
Give me
7
some Bobby
guys
Mack.
left.
Give me some Bobby Mack love.
Okay.
Colin Morikawa.
All right.
Fuck outta here.
So here's not a hard and fast one. Okay. Not only do the top 10, 11 of the last 13 at least have a 1 career top 5 at a major. Okay. Let's make it like you've actually been.
Minwoo.
No, Minwoo's eliminated at this point. Lowry is still.
Lowry's
there. Lowry's still alive at this point. 11 last 13 winners have at least 1 career top 5 in a major. Let's make it like really like you've actually been in the mix for a win. Okay. Daniel Berger's out.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yep. He sucked this week. Big shot Bob's out. Bob McIntyre.
Why is he out?
Career T6 best finish.
That's nitpicky.
Look, it's very nitpicky. Like, but that's how this elimination game works. I'm not saying. And
Okay.
plus,
All right.
also, it's only
I'm
11
slave to the
last.
game.
It's only 11 last 13, by the way.
Yeah, slave to the
So
game.
very possible, but you got to eliminate these guys somehow.
Yep.
Okay. 12 of the last 13 winners have at least 1 win in the last 2 years, and I'm not talking about like calendar. I'm talking about like from Harbor Town 2023, basically. Okay. Have you won anything? Have you won on the Live Tour? Have you won a DP World Tour event? Have you won on the PG Tour? 12 of the last 13 have at least done that.
Okay.
Or they end up winning the Masters. So here's the thing. Shane Lowry won the Zurich last year.
That doesn't.
I
that
don't think
does
that
not fucking count.
I don't think that counts either.
It does not count.
So you know what? The judges have ruled that yes, he technically did win something. I
Have
think
fun
Rory,
with money on Shane Lowry on a day he needs to make fucking putts and try not to kill yourself.
I think I think Rory carried him anyway that week. So
Of course he did.
So Lowry's out. Yes, you won the Zurich. You're out though. Okay. Patrick Cantley has not won anything in 2 years. So he's out.
Loser.
He's out. Yes. Yes. Devin. Yeah. Shane got carried like Ryan Palmer got carried by John Rahm to save his
By
career
John Rahm, yeah.
at the Zurich. So he's out. All right. 13 of the last 13, all of them have had multiple top 20s in their last 5 starts. Now we kind of have to make a little exception for Liv because the less people. Let's just do top 10s for Liv. Okay.
Who are you trying to squeeze in? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who are you trying to squeeze in? Keep doing these.
Terrell Hatton's out.
He's already been eliminated.
No, he hadn't been eliminated yet.
Bullshit. We already talked about it. You already eliminated him.
No, I didn't. When?
I don't know. Fucking
no. We talked about Terrell Hatton being in his 9th Masters, but he was not eliminated at this point.
Fine.
But no, he is officially out. He's been bad. He's not been having good form recent coming in, so he's out. Hideki is also out too.
Okay.
Form's just not there.
Not there. Agreed.
Yep. Akshay has been eliminated well before this, by the way. So
yeah,
long dead.
He's not good at golf.
Okay. So we have officially come down to the survivors of the game.
So we got Scotty, Rory.
And there are four of them.
Colin Morikawa.
We have Scotty. Duh.
Rory.
We have
Colin
Rory. Duh. We have Colin Morikawa.
0 shot. Just write him off. Loser.
And we have Mr. Russell Henley.
Oh, fuck off.
All these guys fit all the criteria.
It's going to be Scotty again, then.
So that's an interesting point. It's probably going to be Scotty or Rory. I mean, cold conditions, wet turf, and possibly long golf course. Not a lot of wind.
Russell Henley won because Jake Knapp decided to try to hit the ball.
That's the wrong tournament, buddy. Wrong tournament. That was
I know.
no, it's more. It was more. It was
not the wrong tournament.
No, it was more. It was no.
Oh, you're right.
Henley,
Henley didn't win, but so anyway, it doesn't matter. Fucking, but it doesn't even matter. Like Henley even finished in the top 5 because of that. Like,
okay, Henley won Bay Hill. By the way.
I know,
because of Morikawa. This loser apparently
God,
he blew it. So
the most a bunch of fucking losers. Oh,
I think you just hate everybody.
No, I don't hate everybody. I like Bobby Mack.
Okay, so Bobby Mack basically is your winner then. I could theoretically buy that. He's been playing. He reminds me of like what Hideki was doing. Like he hadn't won yet, but he's just been playing real solid golf, real good ball striker. You know, he's won. We know he has some win equity. I get behind that.
Imagine Russell Henley or Colin Morikawa winning the fucking Masters.
You can't see Colin win in this place. He's done so well here. I think Russell Henley's a bigger stretch.
Loser. I would rather bet Colin to miss the cut than fucking him to actually fucking win.
You would bet Colin to miss the cut? You'd rather do that?
Yeah.
I disagree. There's not gonna be a whole lot of wind. I think that helps Colin. Not a lot of wind.
I think Colin is a mentally weak. He can't do it. Anytime he gets in contention, like other than once again, COVID golfer, no fans, easy fucking open. I don't know, man.
Okay.
God, fucking massive.
So to Dave's point that a wetter, potentially colder golf course that plays a little longer hurts Morikawa and Henley. 2023, that Masters that was impossibly cold and got dumped with a lot of rain on and played impossibly long over the weekend. Russell Henley finished 4th that tournament, and Colin Morikawa finished T10 that tournament, and Colin Morikawa also finished top 5 in that 2022 tournament that was cold and had very soft turf conditions. So not impossible.
Not impossible. And I'm definitely not cutting my dick off if fucking Henley wins fucking Masters, by the way.
Yeah. Just had to point that out for the record. So I'm not saying that they're blocks to win, but if you think they can't win on a
that's
Augusta National course that is going to play a lot longer for everybody, that might favor Bombers, not quite true.
Yeah, that's kind of right.
Mm-hmm. So,
dude, I hope Morikawa does not win. I hate him. He stinks.
All right. Well, that's it. We have gone 2 hours.
2 hours, baby. Who would have known it?
There you go. So, all right. Well, we will be back on Tuesday night to go over our betting card. You guys already know about one loser that's on my card that I regret significantly. Yes, I still can't believe that happened. I don't want to talk about it.
I have Sergio.
Okay, let's save it.
I was just going to give my losers who aren't going to win. Sergio, and I think I had Spieth.
Spieth looked good today. I mean, not good, but like he shot what even par today on a really hard golf course.
Spieth sucks. He's a fucking loser.
Okay. All right. Well, you bet Spieth and Sergio. I have Cantley my card, and we will go over the rest of our card on Tuesday.
Yeah. Back on Tuesday, going over the betting card and going over what we think is going to happen. Maybe we get some inside info on the course. Maybe we get a guest. I don't know. We'll find out. Masters week. Let's go.